Hey dear friends, today I want to talk about arpeggios because I get a lot of questions. How can you improvise using arpeggios? How can you connect them? And I want to show you a very simple but effective exercise that you can use to get started playing arpeggios right. Today we're only going to cover arpeggio for 3 kinds of chords: major 7, dominant 7 and minor 7, and we're just going to look at the arpeggios of those 3 chord types. That's how I started as well. And yes, so let's start with 4 chords. We're going to use the F major 7, E flat 7 and the D7. And we're going to play each chord for 1 bar: F major 7, E flat 7 and D7. D7 for 2 bars, right? So if you have the chord F major 7, that's a chord that has 4 notes. It has a root, a 3, a 5 and a major 7. And if we play the arpeggio of a chord, we play the root, the 3, the 5 and the 7, right? We can play it like this: F, A, C, E. But we have the entire position, and we can of course check out if we can play more F's and A's and E's and C in this position so that we're not so limited. So if we play the arpeggio in this position, it looks like this. So now we have all the notes of the arpeggio in one position, and the first thing that I'm going to do is to record the F major 7 on the freezer just to have the chord, and then play the arpeggio over it just to hear how it sounds. Connect the sound of the arpeggio with the chord. Right, and I start really with only playing quarter notes. I can say the name of the notes. I can say the intervallic relationships: 5, 3, root, major 7, and so on. And for myself, if I practice something like a scale or arpeggio, I would try to play it 10 times in a row without a mistake in a slow tempo. That's also my litmus test. That's how I test if I know something. I start with playing it slowly 10 times. And then in the next bar I have the E flat 7 chord, right? And I just think, okay, it's a dominant 7th chord, so it has 1, 3, 5 flat 7. And I think about the notes that the E flat 7 has. And then I just again try to find those notes spread out on my fretboard, right? So that I'm not limited to only those 4 notes. So I have an E flat here, G, B flat, maybe I play the D flat here. Just really try to hear it. It's a dominant 7th. Concentrate on the flat 7. And now the next chord is a D7 as well. So in this case we can just like shift the chord a half step lower, and we can shift the pattern also a half step lower. So the intervals will stay in the same place, but the name of the notes of course change. So now I have 3 chords and 2 shapes. Everything is in the 5th position, and that's important because we want to connect our arpeggios. If we have them spread out over the fretboard, and if we have to change the position because we don't know the notes in the position that we're already in, it's going to be much harder to see how like chords and arpeggios are connected. So now I know the chords are going to move along in time, as they always do when we play a song, right? But that can freak us out because we have to react in time, and we have sort of a time limit on each chord and note until the next chord appears. So let's check stuff out a little bit beforehand. Let's say our first chord is the F major. We now know our F major arpeggio. We're starting on the root. We're playing quarter notes. So we're playing F, A, C, E. So we have 4 quarter notes on the F major. The next chord, always thinking about the next chord, is an E flat 7. So I still want to play an ascending line. So I'm on the F, now on the E, sorry, and now I'm thinking, what's my next note in E flat? Would be the G. And then ascending in the E flat 7 would be the B flat, would be the D flat, would be the B flat. Next chord is the D7. I'm ascending, the B flat goes to the A. And then just ascending the D7 arpeggio, A, F sharp, D, C, A, F. So sort of I'm thinking about what I'm going to play as a start over those chords, and just going to have sort of a lick, if you want to, or sort of a roadmap. So I know I'm going to play F major. One more time. So already my line is drastically sounding different than if I would play a pentatonic over all of it, because I'm playing the chord tones. It really helped me so much to hear the quality of the chords, right? We have 2 different qualities of the chords at the moment, a major 7 and a dominant 7th. And what we just did is we tried to play an ascending and descending line through those chords in the 5th position. We have a really big jump here, which I don't like so much. So I'm thinking I'm doing the same exercise, starting on another note. Let's say I'm starting on the A. If this is hard, I advise you to write down the lines in advance and then play it, because I think the first step of playing arpeggios is really to get used to the sound. How do they sound? Because they really outline the chords. Sometimes it's not what we expect to hear, right? And then we just like play the line that we have been writing out. Another thing is, if you're a little bit more advanced, is to think of playing up and down in the one position that we're in for today, 5th position, and not stop playing up and down. So I'm going to demonstrate that. So now it repeats, switching to the F major. About where or how we're going to connect 2 chords. The exercise already tells us how to connect it. We're always connecting to the next possible note in the next chord. So if we're ascending, we're connecting to the next higher note in the next arpeggio, and if we're descending, it's the other way around. So we don't have to think so much about that. We just have to try to understand which note comes next. But if you continue to play it like I just did, right, not stopping, playing it up and down, you will see that when the F major 7 comes around, you're going to be on another note. And then the connection point between 2 chords is also going to be another one. The transition point's going to be somewhere else, and that's why this exercise is so super helpful, because it really forces you to connect your arpeggios wherever you are. You can't always start from the lowest note and ascend, right? But you always have to check to where you can connect, and really advise you to spell out the name of the notes. Take your time. You will become very quick at it over time, and it also will really help you to get to know the notes on your fret, but also to know the notes in a chord. So I want to give you another example for a minor 7 chord. So let's say we have another 4 bar that's going to be G minor 7, 2 bars, B flat minor, E flat 7, B flat minor 7, and E flat 7. New chords, right? We do the same thing. Our first chord is a G minor. We stay in the same position for a while. So what's the lowest note of a G minor 7 arpeggio in this position? That would be the B flat. Now I'm again looking for all the notes of the G minor 7 arpeggio, right? G minor 7, that's G, B flat, D, F. But I'm starting on the B flat, D, F, G, B flat, D, F, G, B flat. This is my arpeggio, right? And I start in the same way. I just record myself the sound of the chord and play the arpeggio. So again, I'm taking the time to find the notes of this arpeggio in this position, but I personally always like to mix stuff like this with a technical exercise. So first, I'm really understanding what I'm doing, name of the notes, the intervals, but then I would also sit down and really play it up and down. Maybe even a rhythm, pyramid, triplet, 60 notes, and have a higher speed, so that also my fingers know where they have to go. Also the motor skills are in place, but at the same time it also really helps to learn this arpeggio. So the next chord is a B flat minor 7, and I know the notes of the B flat minor 7 are B flat, D flat, F and A flat, and then I think again in my position what's the lowest possible note, the B flat, and then I play B flat, D flat, F, A flat, B flat, D flat, F. And the last chord, E flat 7, I think which are the notes of E flat 7, E flat, G, B flat, D flat, and then again I think what's my lowest possible note in this position? Again it's the B flat, B flat, D flat. And we already had this shape, right? So they do repeat after a while. And then I do the same exercise. I record those 4 bars, and again I try to connect them. Right like this, I only have some chords that I really dive into. I understand what I'm doing, I'm playing slowly, and if I connect those 2 groups of chords, I already have the first 8 bars of Days on Wine and Roses. I'm going to record those chords and improvise a little bit with the material that we just talked about, but I'm only going to use arpeggio notes, so I'm only going to use the 1, 3, 5 and 7, but I'm giving myself the freedom of the rhythm so that I can find some nice melodies. I'm actually doing at times, if I'm practicing in one position like this, I'm visualizing notes that are very close together. So if I'm on the A, on the F major 7, and I know my next chord is the E flat 7, I would probably connect it to the B flat, since those halftone steps are really cool. They're very clear. The B flat is not in the F major 7 arpeggio. It would also be in a void note on the F major 7, right? It's the 4. It's not the most ideal note to have a clear major sound. And then I would transfer or transition to the B flat. Or if I'm on the C, I would maybe think, oh, it's a good idea to go directly to the D flat, since the D flat's also not on the F major, and I again have a chromatic connection point. And that being said, if you are sure of your notes in the arpeggios, if you really can play them, you can always play an enclosure or chromatic approach note to any of those notes, because like this, you're always landing on a chord tone, right? So sometimes I would maybe play something like this. Or in the E flat 7. I know. Right, just like connect, for example, two notes that are on the same string. So I hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you next week. Bye! And there's also a PDF that you can download for free at my website, tinajeckel.com. So they're all 4 chords, major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, half diminished, and all 5 patterns of them. Start with one position and have fun exploring. Bye!